Good day, everyone. This is Polyp Noodles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculata.
Hey, now everybody, how's it going?
Hello there, Drac. How are things going on, Barovia?
Same old, same old.
Same old, same old. I've heard that the fire elementals are visiting.
Yes, they need to go away.
They need to
Nobody
go.
wants them around. The question of the day, though,
Yeah.
is how are you, Pine Leaf?
How am I?
How are you? Because I'm thinking we're gonna have to send some help in for you because your lack of Lotro gameplay here lately. I'm sure the DT shakes are starting. The
Well,
are the withdrawal symptoms kicking in yet? Or are you okay? You doing okay?
well, I've been doing some tabletop and some DDO.
Gotcha.
And last night we did have a session because Langeable has been up the last couple of days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that kind of leads us to our big DDO story of the show is servers are melting basically at this
Hey,
point.
at least they're up. Not so stable, but
Well, it's true.
up, which is
But
more than you can say about some of the Lotro ones.
yeah, to see DDO hasn't had it quite as bad as Lotro. Lotro servers are just shut down, gone, not even
Well,
there.
the last day there are only, I think, one or two servers left that are completely down, at least.
But they are looking into it. It's a data center issue. They are well aware of the issue.
Oh boy, are they well aware of it?
They're checking into it. They're working on it. The caveat I would say I would not recommend playing on the hardcore server at this time. I mean, if you want to chance it, go for it. But Cordovan did post today, as a matter of fact, DDO game worlds are experiencing periods of server instability due to issues under investigation at the data center and the related environments. We do recommend players consider not playing on the hardcore server today, but they are keeping the hardcore server open. They will have more information on the timing of various events, sales, and other dates in the near future, so says Cordovan. So there you go. But once again, yeah, it's a data center issue. It's also affecting the website as well, because I actually tried to get on the website earlier today, and I couldn't even get on the website, but then it finally came up, so yeah.
Yeah, that happens on occasion. Now, it looks like at 3 o'clock, that means 4 hours ago, that they brought down the Lotro servers for maintenance. It said they'll let us know when the world's reopened, and I don't see a message that says that they've reopened. So it could be that Lotro's down right now, where they're trying to fix the issue on the Lotro side.
Which, yeah, it's weird to me that if it's a data center issue, that the Lotro servers seem to be having a worse problem with this than the DDO servers. Because at least here, the past couple of days, DDO servers have at least been up. It's been laggy and rubber bandy, and some weird glitches are happening, but at least the servers are up versus not even available. So yeah, it's weird. I would love to know exactly what the issue is, why it's affecting one game versus another.
Yeah. Now, I guess it must depend on the server sometimes, because I was playing DDO yesterday, and even some over the weekend, and I don't recall any. All right, I think I remember one pause where things seemed to pause a little bit, but outside of that, it seemed to be running really fairly smoothly. So
Interesting. But yeah, so like I said, I don't recommend playing hardcore right now, but
yeah,
I mean, if you want to chance it, hey, it's your life to die, not mine.
yes. Cordovan was really willing to risk his life on it for his stream today, because
I saw that.
He did play the stream on the hardcore server.
I didn't actually watch that video yet, but I seen he was on hardcore, and I'm like, wow, he's really taking some chances today.
Yes, he was taking some chances, and this is not only, of course, disrupting players, but it's also disrupting a good deal concerning their schedule because I get the impression from what he's saying that either this week or next week they were expecting a Lamania build, and the Lamania build is probably not happening this week if they were planning on this week because
Nope.
we got people all hands working on that other area
Oh, I'm
and
sure they do.
thinking of uploading a Lamania when this is all going on.
I would hate to be in their IT and engineering department right now.
Yes, and on the Lotro side, they were hoping to have an update. I think it was today, which was when they were originally planning on having it, and no, they canceled it because they said they did not want to bring this up in an unstable world.
Well, guy, that makes the most sense. But yeah, so
That makes no
hopefully,
sense.
hopefully this will get fixed and resolved
Right,
sooner rather than later. But
right. We
it
went to
just
get
depends
this
what the issue is.
right. So as soon as they find out what's going on there, maybe the air conditioners are broken in the data center. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know more about what can go wrong in a data center than I do.
Oh my God, lots of things. That's why I do not envy the engineering and IT department at all right now because I know what they're going through.
Is concerning a data center,
Hmm.
how many large scale clients does a large scale data center have?
It depends. It depends how they're set up, but I mean, it could be anywhere between 100 to thousands.
So that means that there is an excellent chance that there is something going wrong somewhere in the data center every single day.
Yes, at your larger scale data centers, yes, chances are there is some problem. Now, I mean, not to this extent of a problem, but
Okay.
yes, there is some problem happening in a data center somewhere many times a day. But I wouldn't say to this extent and for this long. The thing about this
Yeah.
one is it's been an extended period of time this has been going on, which leads me to believe it's not exactly hardware related. It's something in the data center itself, is what I would think just from the IT. Like I said, I don't know anything about their data center particularly, so I don't know how it's set up. I don't know how the servers are set up. But it could be a multitude of things, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes, that's always the problem.
And it's
Multiple problems.
and it's kind of one of those problems where you can't just say okay it's that, because it could be this problem, and then okay this problem causes this problem, and then that problem causes this problem, and then some kind of safeguard kicks in. Well, if something goes wrong with that safeguard, then there's a whole nother set of problems you got to worry about. So yeah, it's just a cascading ball of
Yeah.
crap that rolls down basically.
And I know how some people can instantly jump to a wrong assumption on things that are going on there because one person on the Lotro said, accused Standing Stones of not having made any upgrades on the heart on the shards that they have since they opened up the data center there, despite the fact that last year they upgraded all the Lotro areas.
I was just about to say, now that is not true because they just did that last year, and they actually started doing that on the DDO side.
Right,
Because Wayfinder, was it last week or the week before?
right.
Wayfinder was down because they were doing the same work that they did on the Lotra side on Wayfinder, and some of the other servers we're supposed to get that work done, which I don't know when that's going to go up again because of all those problems. But yeah, so they are definitely doing upgrades and upgraded stuff. So yeah, it's just one of those weird things. But like I said, they'll figure it out eventually. And I'm sure after they figure it out, they're going to think, well, duh, yeah, of course it was that problem. Or it was
We
that problem plus this problem compounded onto that problem. And of course that's what happened. So we'll see.
we can we can only hope that they do it sooner rather than later.
Indeed.
Yes. Let's then head on to our next little item here where we have a Chronicle issue 390 and that
No idea where that's at.
yeah, because I'm trying to say where is
And it's a
the
weird Chronicle header. It's like a table, some windows, and two bookcases. It's like, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have no
It's
idea where that's at.
Yeah, because I was wondering, was this from the farm? But it looks a little too fancy to be from the farmhouse in the.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was a farmhouse, but then I thought, no, it doesn't look. Yeah, so I don't know where this is from. If you know, podcast at ddoplayers.com and tell us where this is from because I've got no idea. We have community spotlights. The DDO Tracker is a regularly updated PC app that will let you manage your characters, your quests, your challenges, your sagas, puzzle solvers, and more. Click over to check that out. And I have not looked at this yet, but that sounds amazing. I am going to download this and check this out.
Solvers?
Yeah, they have puzzle solvers. So if you need help solving puzzles, which, like, Pine Leaf doesn't because Pine Leaf's the puzzle god. But, us mere mortals that hate puzzles, we just use puzzle solvers and it tells us how to solve it and we can move on with our lives.
Well, there are some puzzles though which are really annoying. The ones with the things you step on in order to certain lights that are in this pentagonal pattern and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are some of my
Yeah.
least favorite ones. But, I mean, well, let's be
So
honest. All the puzzles are my least favorite. But the white puzzles, I think, are high on the list of the ones I don't
yeah.
like.
And the other one that I have a feeling that this thing can't help you with would be the Simon puzzles because you have to do those quickly in real time.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they would. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't looked at it yet. I will look at it and see how they say to solve the Simon puzzles. Or maybe they just give you hints on what to look for and what to do. But
Just in case there are favorite patterns and stuff like
might be,
that.
yeah, might be. I will check it out and let you know. But
Yeah.
that is the DDO tracker. Click over in the Chronicle to learn more about that. There's a new YouTuber going by the name of Free to Play DDO. They have released a ton of individual quest walkthroughs in the most recent days, and they feature commentary and tips for the quest. So check that out if you need some help on some quests. Always good to see people posting about DDO over on YouTube. In the Guild Hall this week, it's the Sacred Supremacy Guild. Brand new guild, started and ran by 3 veteran players over on Galanda. They have their own Discord, their own airship, and more. They are a laid-back group of friends, and they're looking for like-minded adventurers to establish a great guild that can lead to endgame activities, including raids and daily Reaper runs. Click over in the Chronicle for more information if you want to find out how to join the Sacred Supremacy.
Now,
Go
in the
ahead.
name Galanda,
Uh-huh.
is that H after the G in any way significant to the pronunciation of that word? Because I'm trying to, or are they just trying to be fancy there? I guess you never heard the proper way to pronounce that word.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think of how I've basically heard it pronounced, and it's usually pronounced Galanda.
In which case, the H is completely insignificant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was just trying to think. I'm trying to think if I've ever heard it pronounced any other way, and I have not. Even when I've heard people talking about House Galanda, it's always just been Galanda. So no, I would say it is not significant whatsoever.
All right, continue.
But correct me if I'm wrong if there's another way to pronounce it, but that's the only way I've ever heard it pronounced. In our fan site news section, the damsels of DDO are running into a small problem. Click over for the podcast and video stream to check those wonderful damsels out. DDO Kasplat is finding friendly ballistas.
Friendly ballistas.
I questioned the word friendly there, but sure, okay. Especially if you know DDO Kasplat at all. I'm pretty sure they were very friendly, if you know what I mean. DDO stream. Of course, your first stop to find DDO over on Twitch. DDO PL holds the bottle. D&D night mixes DDO and tabletop. And, of course, Doug Glendower gets down to questing. Twitch also has a lot of people twitching. Apocalypse Don claims a world first on Killing Time. Strim Tom is running hardcore. And Voodoo Spice does coffee and chat. As we mentioned a little earlier. Oh, you got a question?
Is Strimtom actually running hardcore during this laggy period?
I think that video was before this started.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Knowing Strim Tom, he probably is, but
okay.
It's trim time after all, but who
Okay.
knows? But yeah, I think that video was before all the crazy stuff started happening. We did mention a little earlier about YouTube. Tharaza is practicing stealthy repossession. Samus Garobo heads to hardcore. Once again, I think before all the craziness happened. And LJK 1232, I guess, completes Reaper 6 Grim and Barrett. Reaper 6. Good on you, sir.
Uh-huh.
I want to tap out at Reaper 2, but Reaper 6, good on you. And we got a Chronicle comment, as we always do. What would your party bring to the beach?
What would my party bring to the beach?
This is a weird Chronicle comment. I think it was because it was summary, I guess. I'm thinking is the line of questioning on this comment. But this is a weird comment, Quarterman.
Okay. I'm sorry, but the first thing that comes into my mind is something like the Normandy invasion, where one would bring a rifle.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I would say that outside of performing an intentional invasion of that sort, that's the worst thing you can bring to a beach.
I mean, I was thinking just the standard beer and hot dogs, but okay, sure. I mean, a rifle would work too, I guess.
Well, maybe that's something. Yeah, maybe not bring one of those to the beach if
It
you're.
would probably depend on the beach you're going to, I guess.
Yeah, as I said, if we're a beach landing you're participating in, maybe. But outside of that,
We do have a screenshot of the week, of course. It's the Dwarven Ranger Rackenold Rockseeker. Say that a couple times fast. Is in the land of owlbears with his defender and a tamed owlbear. That, of course, is from the Stormhorns, and that's the 472nd. I can speak. I really can. DDO screenshot of the week, and that is from Rackenold for sending that screenshot in. Definitely a couple owlbears, a couple snowy owl Stormhorns. Nice screenshot.
anything you could want. Let's go and see what's coming in from the dungeon. And I heard that there is something humble here.
There is something very, very humble. It is the Pathfinder 2 Humble Bundle. If you have been interested in the second edition of Pathfinder, but you didn't want to shell out a lot of money to jump into it, go to Humble Bundle now. You can get everything other than the Adventure Pass for Pathfinder 2 via PDF right now. This is starts at $5. You get a bunch of stuff for $5. That includes the core rulebook, character sheet pack, a couple adventures. You get some maps for virtual tabletops, and some other adventures as well. It's a great deal for $5, but just like every other Humble Bundle, you keep adding on, you keep going up. Eventually, you can get to the highest tier, and that's over 23 different PDFs. So that is crazy. And there is also the option, if you want a physical copy of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition core rulebook, you can also get that on this Humble Bundle too. But I do caution you, check its shipping. It might be cheaper to get that at your friendly local game store than it would be via this Humble Bundle if you want the physical copy. Or even cheaper on Amazon as well with shipping. But you just got to remember that has shipping. PDFs, of course, don't have any shipping. If you just go up to that higher tier and you get the physical copy, remember you can have shipping on top of that. So just be forewarned, especially if you're in a non-United States of America country. Shipping's really going to get you on that.
Yes. I'm sure anyone who lives in Australia or New Zealand knows that very well.
Exactly. And this Humble Bundle, just like every Humble Bundle, has a charity. It is going to this one. All purchases are going to be split up to 3 different charities that are committed to diversity and racial justice. It's the National Urban League, the Carl Brandon Society, and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And just remember, with Humble Bundle, you can always choose how much goes to charity. So if you want more to go to the charity, you can do that as well. I did put a link to this Humble Bundle. Remember, we are an affiliate to Humble Bundle. So if you use our link, you can choose to give us a little piece of that sale as well. And then you can adjust how much we get, how much the charities get. And we also have a charity choice on ours. So you can also choose to give some to our charity, which is the American Cancer Society. So just keep that in mind. You can always split that up if you want. But go check it out. This, like I said, this is, if you've been wanting to get into Pathfinder 2, this is the way to do it. For little to even very, very little money. Like I said, it starts at 5, and the highest tier, one second, let me load it. I can't remember what it is. The highest tier is actually $20 or more. And then if you want the actual hardcover as well, it's $30. But for $20, you can get everything other than the Adventure Pass for Pathfinder 2 on PDF. It's pretty awesome. And of this recording on Wednesday evening, July 22nd, you have 13 days to jump in on the Humble Bundle Pathfinder 2.
Then let's head over and see what's on the tabletop. Where the Lord of the Rings, the board game Anniversary Edition has been announced by Fantasy Flight Games. Anniversary Edition, is this going to be Ultimate Bling or something?
Yes, they are blinging it out. That is one way to put it. Of course, this is the Lord of the Rings game by Fantasy Flight, released in 2000, was originally published. This one is going to have some upgrades to it, of course. The old version just had a plain white dice, and you had standees for your characters. This time around, you actually have the little miniatures for your characters, and they have a pretty sweet black Mordor dice. So there you go. As I said, the 2000 edition of the game had tokens, markers, and the game die were all punch boards. The anniversary edition has been upgraded with the plastic sculptured miniatures. Those are going to be miniatures for the Hobbits, Sauron, and the One Ring. And of course, the threat die is going to be black. Each miniature is detailed from the Hobbit's hairy feet down to that frightening black rider you will encounter. And the One Ring Mini now even has the authentic Elvish script on the inside of the ring, so you too can say the One Ring to Rule Them All poem if you would like. And if you can read Elvish, that is.
Well, minor little detail in there.
So other than that, not much else has changed. They did say they did upgrade some of the artwork on the boards a little bit as well too. But pretty exciting about this. This is coming out pretty soon. The Lord of the Rings, the board game. Of course, if you're not familiar with it, you control the fate of the ring bearer Frodo Baggins of the Shire. As he and his Fellowship of the Ring, you and up to 4 other players make your treacherous journey across Middle-earth to destroy the One Ring, all while avoiding and defeating the evil forces of the Dark Lord Sauron. Gameplay is going to cover the entire Lord of the Rings trilogies of books. It's going to be played over different boards. So you do have the Depths of Moria, you have the Battle of Helm's Deep, Shelob's Lair, and of course the Desolation of Mordor and the Ring. So you have a different board for each one. I will admit, I've never actually played the Lord of the Rings board game. I've seen it played. I've seen it. I might actually have to get this Anniversary Edition because it looks pretty sweet.
Well, I guess because since I don't do miniature painting, I find standees to be better than miniatures very often.
Oh, because you don't like it when the miniatures aren't painted?
Well, I can work with non-painted miniatures, but very often it's hard to tell which one is which in some cases, especially when 4 of them are gonna be hobbits.
Well, that's true. Okay, I will give you that. This is available to pre-order now. You can get it directly from the Asmodee store, or you can pre-order it at your friendly local game store. No exact release date has been given. They just said later this year, so whatever that means.
Yes. Then let's head into another announcement. This is from Z-Man Games, where they have announced that there's going to be another Pandemic Legacy. That's right. They're going to have Season 0.
Which this was weird to me. It's like Season 0. Okay.
Well, considering what happened in Season 2, I was wondering, well, how are they going to follow that one up?
Okay, that's true. I guess that makes sense. And of course, this is a prequel. Yes, everybody loves the prequels.
Of course.
Pandemic Legends Season 0 is a prequel story that is going to put players in the role of medical graduates. You were called upon by the CIA during the Cold War of 1962, a deadly Soviet blow weapon entitled Project Medusa will have players traveling between Allied, neutral, and Soviet cities as they eliminate Soviet operatives, acquire specific targets, and set up other CIA agents in remote locations. This is played out over 12 months. Each playthrough is going to give you new cards, new rules, and new conditions that'll affect all of your future games. And Season 0 does not require players to have played either Season 1 or Season 2 to play.
Well,
so you
one
can
would
just
expect
grab
that.
this and jump in. Well, yeah, since it's a prequel, of course.
Yeah, it's being a prequel.
And once again, no specific release date was stated in the press release for this either. Once again, this is available to pre-order now. Check with your friendly local game store, or you can get it straight from Z-Man/Asmodee as well.
Now, one of the interesting things about this is that one of the promos they had was they had a jigsaw puzzle of the front box cover.
Yeah, I saw. I think it was Dice Tower was putting that together. I think it was Dice Tower.
Yeah, Z Garcia was doing it.
Yeah, that was putting that jigsaw puzzle together, and I thought that's a weird promo, but okay, kind of cool, I guess.
Especially considering that the first time I saw what the box cover was actually going to look like was when that puzzle was assembled.
Was put together. That's awesome. Yeah, right. I mean, it's interesting the way they did that. I can't say I can think of any other game that has ever done a jigsaw puzzle to promote your game, but sure, why not?
Anyway, this looks like it's going to be interesting. And I think I saw, might have been Z Garcia also who had a little preview of what is coming in relation to on what it looks like in the style of play on it is, because there are a few things that are going to be a little bit different from standard Pandemic. Actually, it looks a lot more interesting to me than how Season 2 is, because I know there are a lot of people out there who think that Season 2 was twice as good as Season 1. I really didn't like Season 2 all that much. I only got halfway through it, and I haven't finished it.
So the question is, are you going to pick this one up and play through this one?
That's for me to decide. I have a feeling most likely. We'll see how that works. We'll see if I still have that opinion, though, when it comes out and the reviews come through.
Well, that's true.
And that's it for the tabletop. So let's head into our week in gaming. And Drek, what were you up to?
I did some tabletop gameplay. We'll start with in Dungeons & Dragons 5e. Ran the Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We had our episode 4 titled License to Doppel.
License to Doppel.
Watch the episode. It will make complete sense. This one, we actually, instead of running over on Evil Beaker's channel like we usually do this, because this is bonus D&D night, we actually were on the DDO stream channel for this. This happened Sunday. I linked the video, so you can check out the video. I love playing in this adventure. I can't talk about it too much because there was a big spoilery thing that I can't say that happened at the end. It's a big cliffhanger. Something big happened as we were in the Undermountain trying to make our way through the Undermountain. Beaker ended us on a cliffhanger. I don't want to say anymore. Just watch the video. But that was episode 4 of Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Once again, license to Doppel. It will make sense when you see the video. We have some tabletop that I played. Played the Exceed fighting system. Played the Shovel Knight Hope box. This is a fighting game. True and simple. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It's a fighting game. It's a card-based fighting game. You play cards to try to knock out your opponent. You have like a track that you're on, and you move your character, or well, your cards. Well, it's your character, but it's cards on this track. And then if you're within a certain range of the opponent, you can do something if you have the right card. Look for a full review of this coming. I played this for review. Have never played any of the Exceed fighting system games at all, so this was my first experience with it. It was fun. I liked it. It's pretty in-depth. If I would think if you would get into it hardcore, you would get some good strategies. My friend and I that were playing really actually didn't know because we had never played it, so we were just kind of learning it. But it's fun. Look for a review of that coming soon. Another review coming. Go ahead.
How were you able to get to play it with all the shutdown stuff going on?
Oh, my friend just came over.
Oh, sort of ignore that little thing where they
pretty much, yeah.
In Indiana.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
We were across the table from each other. It's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. We also played Bang the Duel. That is a Bang the card game for 2 people. You can only play it with 2 people, and you are dueling the other person. It plays very, very similar to all the other Bang games. So if you're familiar with the Bang the card game, plays very, very similar to that. Couple tweaks, but as I said, it's only for 2 players. Look for a review of that coming as well. Another review coming to the site. All this stuff that I played was for review, if you can't tell, was a game called Dungeon Brawler. This is a weird hybrid dungeon crawling game where I'm gonna spoil the review a little bit here, so if you don't want to hear some of what's going to be in the review, skip ahead about maybe 3 minutes if you're worried about spoilers for a review.
For a review?
Yeah, I gotta say, well, I don't know. Some people might want to read your full thoughts or whatever, but quick condensed review version of this with spoilers. Once again, skip ahead about 3 minutes. This wants to be a very good dungeon crawling game.
Wants to be.
Wants to be is the key factor there. It's stupid hard. It's way harder than it needs to be. I played it once with him, and then I played it 3 times solo. I don't see how you can win at this game. It is too hard. It's way harder than it needs to be. The rules need to be tweaked a lot. Well, I'll just say that. I'll save everything else for the full review. Look for that coming soon to the site. But you have your characters on one side. You put four characters out. It's each character, like, you have to have at least 4 people in your party. So if you play it solo, you get 2 henchmen that go with you. And if you're just playing with 2 people, you have 2 people and 2 henchmen, and so forth. Like if you have 3 people, you have 3 and a henchman. You get the idea. So you put those cards on the left-hand side, and then you build the dungeon on the right-hand side. And every time a card activates, the card moves over in the line, so it's always shifting. So you're always shifting through the dungeon. You actually don't ever move into the dungeon. You're just moving your player cards over, and you have certain cards that, like, you say you have a weapon on you that will hit whatever in the 5th and 6th slot. So whatever monster is in the dungeon in the 5 and the 6 slot, you can attack those 2, or you can only attack one card over. It's weird. It's way harder than it needs to be. I think it's totally brutal. Like I said, I played it a total of 4 times now. Did not even get close to winning. The first time I played it solo, I lost on the second round. So it's way harder than it needs to be. But I guess if you're into like an extreme challenge, you might like it. But I'm not that big of a fan, so spoiler again for the review, it's not going to be kind.
Usually, a game that's going to be tough like that would have some mitigating factor for someone who's just starting so that they could.
Right. No, there is none of that insight here.
None of that.
None of that mitigating stuff. Heck no. It's just straight hardcore. I'm going to kill you just because I can kill you because that's how the AI is set up. So yeah. I think this was a successful Kickstarter like maybe a year ago or a couple years ago. I think because another crappy thing is the rule book is horrible. We had to look up a couple videos to even figure out how to play right because the rule book was that bad. And it seems like every video we found was about the Kickstarter of it, which another annoying thing was how they were showing you how to play. They had some bits and pieces that were not included apparently in the retail version of it. So I was like, well, that would be really handy to have that because there was like this health tracker that you apparently got in the Kickstarter version that would have made it way easier to track health other than the, yeah. And anyway,
Yeah.
Review coming, not going to be pretty.
Not going to be pretty.
Run far away from Dungeon Brawler, but unless you like games that you can't win and are going to be frustrating, then pick it up. Go ahead, be my guest. And then the final tabletop game we played was Scooby-Doo Betrayal at Mystery Mansion. We did an unboxing of this just a couple weeks ago. This one's coming soon. I think at the end of the month, actually, it's out. So I'm going to try to get this review up before it's actually in stores. We talked about it, I think, last week. Or last podcast, maybe. I think we talked about it.
I think I remember having a conversation on this matter.
It's Betrayal at House on the Hill with Scooby-Doo theme thrown on top. The theme works great. And I think you asked the question, how is the betrayal going to work?
Right, because we're talking about
Scooby-Doo people.
Yeah.
They handle it very well. How it's handled is once the haunt triggers, you can either pick who you want to be the villain, or it can just be the person that triggered the haunt. But since it's like a family game, they write it into the rules. You can just pick. So like, let's say it's like parents playing with the kids. I'm sure the kid is not going to want to give up Scooby-Doo to be the villain, right? So just like the parent can say, okay, I'll be the villain. That's fine. So that's one little minor different. But what happens is how it's written into from what I gather, we only did one of the haunts, and the one we did, how it was written, whoever was going to play the villain, their character fell down a trapdoor and got kidnapped. So that's how they're out of the game.
Okay, that's why they're out of the game.
Yes.
And they're replaced by someone else who's the villain.
Yes.
And that sounds like something that could happen in a Scooby-Doo story.
Right, exactly. That's exactly how they do. And I'm assuming they kind of have like each different haunt is going to have a different way of how, the person, something happens to them.
Right.
Like I said, I didn't read through any of them because I didn't want to spoil myself because I actually want to go through and try to play through all the haunts. But yes, so that's like the one we did, and and then we just had a dice roll to see who did the villain, and I actually won that dice roll. And I was playing Daphne, which was kind of apropos that she fell down a trapdoor and got kidnapped, and then I became the villain. So yes, so that's how they're doing it, which I like the way they're doing that. It fits in with the theme. And again, like I said, they have it set up to where you can either choose to just have the person that triggered the haunt be the villain, or you can somebody at the table can say, I'll do it. which I like that as it's supposed to be a family friendly version of Betrayal. Like I said, I don't see any kid that's going to want to give up playing Scooby Doo to be a villain. I mean, maybe there might be some out there, but
Oh, yeah, I think I've met one or two that
but
might
so yeah,
want to do
so
that.
look for full review of that coming soon. So a lot of reviews. I got through a lot of my review stack. I have still have a big stack of other stuff I have to review too. So I know my friend listens to the podcast. We need another game day, so soon.
All right, so that sounds like it got a much better review than the other game.
Yeah, much better than Dungeon Brawler, indeed. So how about you, Piney? What
All right.
did you do?
All right, I'll begin with DDO, where I was continuing on with my Keep of the Borderlands series, where I think I said last time that I created an elf wizard and went through the grotto, but hadn't actually started at that time Keep of the Borderlands yet. And I was wondering then, how in the world, or what were the odds that I'll be able to get my wizard through this without the cleric? And I actually managed to surprise myself because I managed to get through the entire thing without resorting to summoning a cleric.
Wow, nice.
And I was surprised on that because I know at the very beginning of it, I was hard pressed to get a character earlier on in the year to be able to get a character through the whole thing without resorting to the cleric. And I must be, well, my other goal for this year, of course, was to get better. So maybe it's starting to happen because a wizard is not an easy character to solo.
Not really. They tend to be a little bit on the squishy side.
Right. Now, the first time I tried Violent Delights, it did end in a violent death, but when I respawned at the keep and came, I remembered I had not yet assigned any of my enhancements. So I decided rather than just immediately resorting to the cleric that I would try it one more time after putting in my enhancements, then go back, rerun it and see if if I didn't get through in that case, I would bring out the cleric. But between the enhancements and a couple of potions, because I also remembered which position I had the potions on. So between those two things, I was able just to squeeze out and survive that one. And Violent Delights is a lot harder than the finale is. So the finale, you at least have the advantage of being level 2 for that one. Wow. Because I do these at level. I do not level until after I finish the level 1 ones. Then I level before going to the last one, so that's the level 2 quest. And I did get all the way through there. As I said, I had a little trouble with Violent Delights, and there were one or two other points where things got a little bit dicey. But in the end, I got all the way through without resorting to a hireling.
Nice.
Now, I also decided to bring out my alchemist. I think this is partially because Lotro was down and partly because I finished up the content on our legendary server and they hadn't released the next zone yet. So I wanted something to do while waiting for that. So I decided to run my 4th level alchemist in Sharn Syndicate. And I decided to do this without a hireling, even though I think I usually do the Sharn Syndicate with a hireling. But I said, all right, let's see how this works without a hireling. Now, what I found out while doing this is a matter concerning this meta magic item feat that I tend to take, and that is issue materials. And what I didn't consider the possibility of was that when you have issue materials on, then when you cast curative admixture, it does not consume the potion. And I guess
Really?
I had always assumed that because it was a potion's technically a magic item that it would consume the potion.
One would think.
My artificers have been avoiding equipping that spell simply because I thought this was just going to get ultra expensive in potions and the like. But now I'm looking in here and saying, what? Because my artificers tend to take issue materials also. I could have been using this spell all this time and effectively heal myself without having to worry about lugging a cleric around.
Right.
So that turned out to be a thing on there where I told you I'm learning things this year is
I
my
guess
theme in
so.
DDO, and learning that I have been missing this opportunity here for
You are definitely learning DDO, which is what you wanted to do. So there you go.
as curative admixture does not consume the potion when you have issue materials, as active one. Now, it goes through power like it's water, of course.
Well, you
Just
can't
like
have everything.
yeah, you can't have everything, right? You can't have everything. It's and but on my artificers at least, usually I don't use enough spells in order to worry about. Now, my alchemist, on the other hand, yeah, that was a little bit of a problem because I was skirting the edge of how much I have in there. For example, there's one dungeon where I had at one point zero spell points left. Now, I believe that was in the Storm Reaver fresco where that happened. And the Storm Reaver fresco, of course, is annoying. In fact, I recorded this whole thing for YouTube. When I did the Storm Reaver fresco, after I destroyed the first crystal, I said, I'll be back when the second crystal is destroyed because I didn't want to put anyone watching that through a second crystal because that's how long it took me to break the stupid thing. Because
Wow.
I forgot because I went to the dungeon and forgot to see. I don't think I did have any spells of this type anyway, because I didn't have any spells that had force or sonic damage.
Oh god, that would take you forever to break those crystals, and I can see why.
And without force or sonic damage, yeah, you know what it's like to get through those crystals without force and sonic damage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I had one wizard or something like this who went through there with a magic missile one and just like tore those crystals apart. But but my alchemist, I don't know how many sets of dogs went there. And the only thing that saved me through that crazy thing was the fact that I could quickly dispose of the dogs because of all my electrical damage that I was doing. And two, my alchemist had the best balance skill of any character I think I've ever played in DDO. I have no idea why, because I was shocked with it. I'm going through here and saying, "What? Don't I ever fall down?" It's like, because Charm Syndicate is all about needing balance because you need it in that you need it in Storm Meter Fresco, you need it in the Bookbinder Rescue, and there might be another one or two other cases where you need it. So Shard Syndicate excels in needing a good balance skill, and I think this is actually the first time I had a character that actually had a decent one going in there because I'm always slipping on that oil on all my other characters. So that was pleasant that I was able to get through the dogs quickly and without constantly falling down. But I did manage to get all the way through that. Now, in Minecraft, I completed the July Minecraft Hardcore Challenge, and in this case, we were supposed to survive inside the Badlands, and they decided that because of the nature of the timing of it, that this challenge came out right after the release of the Nether update, they decided to rule that going into the Nether will not count as leaving the biome because you're just going to a different dimension. I know that's a bit pushing it in there, but
Eh.
they decided, well, if you want to go to the Nether for this challenge, be our guest is what they decided. So I did decide to go into the Nether in there, and the Nether. If you thought the Nether was dangerous before, look at the new and improved Nether. But I did go into there and I actually did a lot of trading and stuff like bartering, I guess is the term what you could do in the Nether in there. So I had a little bit of fun going into there and seeing what I could do in the new Nether while I was there. Then also I completed 3 weeks worth of Mage Rage, and a lot of those Mage Rages were also sending us into the Nether to take advantage of the latest things that are going on in there. And then in my main world, I was doing several things in the Nether and also starting a couple things. I'm starting to build up my base, and one of the things that I'm trying to do is to see if I could do some building with some of the new Nether materials. So I brought in a few things for the Nether that I could use in order to have the materials grow inside the overworld. That way I don't have to go into the Nether every time I wanted to find some warped wood or anything like this, because I really like the warped wood and would like to use that in some of my builds because it's a cyan color, and and I like doing things in cyan, so it's nice to be able to have a cyan wood to work with. And that's it for Minecraft. So now let's get into tabletop. First, I start out with Commands and Colors Tricorn. This was on July 4th weekend. So I played Bunker Hill on July 2nd and Freeman's Farm on July 4th and seeing how they do. And let's just say the British did pretty well, I think, in both of those. In both of those.
Oops.
Yeah, so that was a thing watching there. Now, Bunker Hill, the British won anyway, so that was no real surprise. But Freeman's Farm was a continental victory in history, but not in how I wound up playing it. I'm still trying to figure out how to do a good attack in Tricorn without backfiring instantly. I think I finally had one when I was playing Freeman's Farm, where I had a couple of attacks being done by the British, where the people doing the attack actually survived. But usually, going in and trying to do a close in attack on the enemy usually results in a quick death for the person who's doing the attack. At least that's been my experience so far. Tricorn is tough when you are expected to go and capture something. Then I played several games and trying to see how they play on the table. So testing out several games on the table. Age of Civilization, Bowling Solitaire, 11s is for 1, Octodice. Then we have Rallyman GT. This is a game that I just got. And are you familiar with Rallyman?
Yep.
All right, GT or just the old one?
Both.
Okay.
I haven't played GT, but I played Rallyman long time ago.
All right. So you are basically familiar with it.
Mhm.
So I'm only really familiar with GT since I didn't play the old one. And which reminds me that's right, because Rallyman Dirt is on Kickstarter right now.
I was just about to say, are you playing this because of the Kickstarter, I'm assuming?
I think the Kickstarter is what put it into my mind, and that's what inspired when I saw now Rallyman Dirt is,
which, just an FYI, by the time you hear this podcast, that Kickstarter will be over. Just FYI.
Oh, that's right. It's coming to the very, very end of it, isn't it?
Yes, I think it has like a day left or something. So yeah.
Yeah. So Rallyman, 18 hours to go. Yes.
There you go. I knew it was almost done.
Yeah, almost done in there. So unless they have a late pledge option,
which I'm sure they will, most Kickstarters do. But anyway.
Right. Yeah, so Rallyman Dirt put me into it, and then I was able to see the promos and stuff like that. Now, Rallyman Dirt, of course, is the one that is going to be more attractive to the solo gamers because of the style it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because since when you play Rallyman, even multiplayer, you have staggered starts because in rallies you have a staggered start so people don't interfere with each other. While of course in GT, which is more like Grand Prix, half the point of the race is the interference with the other people. So they're very, very different in their styles as a result of it. Of course, in Dirt, your big battleground is going against the terrain and successfully doing that. Now, when I was young, I used to do TSDs. So, and despite the fact, if you think that TSDs, that there are a lot less strength. In case you don't know what TSD is a rally where precision timing is what you have to do rather than speed.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the idea is not to be there faster than everyone, but to be there at the time you're supposed to pass the check. Each car is supposed to pass that checkpoint at a specific time, since it's a 1 minute stagger start. Therefore, that means if every car was exactly on time, then every car will pass the checkpoint at 1 minute apart. Of course, that never happens in reality, but that's another matter. And despite the fact that you're theoretically you're going legal speed limits, or at least should be, and despite the fact that you're going legal speed limits and that you don't have as dangerous a curves on there. I remember one time I was in one of these events where we managed to ditch the vehicle twice.
Oh, good grief.
I'd have to think what they do in the performance dirt rallies if that's what happens. But back to the game now, GT. So I did 2 runs on the first track in there to get the feel for that. And when the other thing that I decided to do was is that they have a monthly challenge where you try yourself out of a custom track in there, and at the end of the month they list how everybody did on the timing on that. So what I did is I did a couple of runs on the first track in the manual, then I did a run from the January track just to get an idea how when the challenges work. Then I went to the July track, did 2 practice runs, then I did an official run on there, and, well, I'm sure I'm way behind the real pros, but we'll find out at the end of the month on there. So I'm really enjoying this game, and I think I'll be playing in the monthly challenges and see how far I can stay behind on that. Then I played some Ian's and Legacy where we were playing the last nemesis in the Legacy series. This is for a solo challenge that they're currently running on the Geek. And first I played by the rules used in the challenge in there, and I was just completely and absolutely squashed. And I'm thinking, all right, let me see how I do if I play under the rules as they are written inside the game book instead of with the special challenge rules in there. Because challenge rules are done to make things a little bit tougher. And I did this with each of the 2 mages that I'm allowed in this particular event, and I managed to win both games by the slightest of slivers, which means that if I were playing under the challenge rules, I would have been squished in those 2 also. So I'm just thinking, there's no way I'm gonna win this. That's what it looks like. So I have to think of plan B. So because of that, I put that aside and then ran some Roll Through the Ages. Then I decided to bring out Edge of Darkness because it's been a while since I played that, but it's a bit of a table hog. So I decided, let's see how this plays on my game table. And in there, I'm barely able to fit the large version of the layout on my game table, but it's such a tight fit that I decided to go to the small version anyway, so I have a little bit more room to breathe because I think that's a little much more comfortable in there. And I ran the first 4 chapters, and now I think I'm starting to understand how the game operates because I think the last time I played several months ago, I only played 1 chapter. I never got to feel the game, but I do. But Edge of Darkness just feels fiddly to me. Completely Mystic Veil, I think, over to Edge of Darkness. And I guess you're following the Dead Reckoning Kickstarter?
Yes, I am. I'm debating if I want to do it or not because,
Well, that one just
pirates.
ended.
Oh, did it already end? Well, I guess I'm not going to do it then.
Yeah.
I guess my decision was made. I really shouldn't spend the money anyway, but, pirates.
Yes. And I was watching the Rolling Solos playthrough of that, and yes, this looks like the play style is a lot more attractive to me. And this is despite the fact that Pirates isn't exactly my favorite theme. And in fact, when I first saw the announcement for it, I'm saying, well, this sounds like something I'm not going to get. But when I started hearing more about the game and seeing the playthrough stuff like this, I'm thinking, this, I think, is going to be utilizing the card crafting system better than Edge of Darkness does. Let's see how right I am when and next year my copy comes in, right?
Oh, you did back it then?
Yeah, I did back it.
Nice.
Now that concludes what I did on that set of tabletop stuff. But then just a few days ago, over the weekend, SoloCon started working again because SoloCons were taking a little bit of a hiatus during the quarantine. I know it's strange, a SoloCon taking a hiatus during a quarantine.
Well, yeah, that is kind of okay.
Yeah, I think it's because of the quarantine and was less in the mood of playing games and stuff like that. So I played the few things on Solo. This time, the SoloCon's themes for this one were things that are short. So it had to be either a game with a short name or that had a short playing time. So the first game that I played in this so far is Maquis, which is about the French resistance during World War II. So that's 6 letters. 6 letters or less if you go by short title. And the missions that I got for this were a really, really brutal combination. One of the missions was called German Shepherds, where you're expected to deal with some dogs that the Germans are using. And what happened here is that there is a rule in there that you cannot kill any of the milice until you finish the German Shepherd mission. The other mission that I drew was assassination, where you are required to kill all of the milice.
Oh, jeez.
This means then I cannot even start on the assassination one until I finish the first one, because as soon as I finish the German Shepherd mission, then I could work on the other one. And I had 6 turns left at the point that I finished the first one. I had to kill 5 Milice in 6 turns, and yeah, that wasn't happening. I tried my best to it, but I think I was 2 turns left when I was put into a place where I had to either do nothing and thus run out of time, or do something and drop the morale so low that the game would be over. So that didn't work out very well. Then I played The Abandoned, which obviously from the longish name, it was a short game. And here I did 3 playthroughs, and those 3 playthroughs went rather quickly since we're talking about The Abandoned. And my score in every single run through that got worse and worse. I decided, let's see where Abandoned was in my top 100 list that I'm forming, and seeing if it needed to be dropped. And then I found out, no, it was already below 100. So like, okay, I guess that makes sense. Then I played Cobras, a game that has a short title, and okay, Cobras is a trick taking game, but it does have a solo mode in there. And you have to score 150 points when you are playing it in the solo mode. The first game I played in it, I had 2 bad runs and then a great third one. Second game I played, I had a great first 2 rounds and somehow could not score enough in order to get a win in the third round. I mean, why couldn't I get the third round from the first game coupled up with the first 2 rounds of the second game? Oh well, that's the way it goes. Couldn't get a consistent enough score in order to have a win on there. And then finally, I went back to Rallyman GT. And the reason why I did this was I wanted to. Now, in case you want to know, Rallyman GT, the first course that they have in the manual, if you run that in a single lap, you can actually complete that game in less than 20 minutes. So I based that on time for it, despite the fact that Rallyman GT, when you have several players and doing a large map or 2 laps, is about an hour long game, but a time trial on a short track can be done in less than 20 minutes. And what I found there is that I wanted to beat my record from it, because when I played the first track before, I had it so that I finished the second run at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And I want to see, can I break 3 minutes? So I went in there saying, all right, can I break 3 minutes? And because I had played that July challenge and the like, I've learned a little bit more how the game plays. And I came in and ran I think I did in something like 1 minute 53, I think was my final time there. And that's not real time, but the track time when you add up all your points in there. So I managed to actually destroy that record. I was thinking maybe I can get 3 minutes, and I just blew through that. I said, all right, if that worked, what happens if I switch to running in the rain? So I decided to try it again with the rain. And my second run there, running that track in the rain, was 3 minutes and 1 second.
Oh, wow.
Just missed that 3 minute mark. Oh well. But I think that
One
was
second, huh?
yeah, but I think that was a pretty good run, considering that I didn't have all of my dice available due to the rain. And that's it with what I was doing this week. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support the Players Alliance, you go to the next page. We can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to donate directly to us, then you could send donations to Drac at ddoplayers.com. We did not receive any emails this week. If you'd like to send one, you can send it to podcast at ddoplayers.com, and you can all follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_72, and Polly Pet Polly Needles. And you can follow Drac on Twitch at Dracula_72. The Players Alliance has 3 shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. That's Wednesday, right? Or it's Wednesdays now. Oh boy,
Should be Wednesdays. I'm not sure how that got changed back. This is like an
Yeah,
version
sorry.
of the
On
template for
Wednesdays at
some reason.
7 p.m. USD Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USD Eastern Time, we have Lotra Players News. And if you want to know when XP Quest starts, you'll have to follow at XP Quest on Twitter. But please note that XP Quest is not Piney friendly. You can stream for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Piney Duels reminding you to socialize responsibly.